Welcome back, people. This is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I'm your boy, Mr. Prez, and with me always,
It's your boy Cash, aka Exec P, episode 100, baby. We did it.
100. We
Did
did
it. We did it.
Cash. Hey, we're 100 episodes in, but we ain't gonna mess up, man. Tell the people who their first time hearing us, first time seeing us. Tell them who we are, what we do.
Well, this is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast, a podcast about music, sports, and entertainment, the culture, all of that. So you're going to get that each and every week. We pick certain topics that matter to us and we discuss it, but we give you our own twist from a fan perspective and also from some old dudes that have some years and some miles on them with some experience. You know, we also provide leadership, reviews of books. So we do a lot, but we'll always kind of warn you about it before it comes. But that's essentially what Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast is, a wealth of knowledge on the aforementioned subjects.
I like that, man. I do have a wealth of knowledge to give, man. Hey, man, after all this time frame, yeah, it's good. But yeah, we mainly come on here. We talk about albums. We like you said, we talk about books. We review a couple books. Got a couple of book reviews coming up for our Patreon supporters this coming up month, and then we got an interview coming up a little bit later. But in this episode, what are we gonna do, Cash?
Hey, we just taking a look back, celebrating 100 episodes, just rewatching and listening for the audio listeners here, and just taking a trip back. Sometimes you got to celebrate your accomplishments and look back and see what you've done and enjoy it. And also, it gives you guys that are new listeners or people that have come on board late in the game. We know you don't have the time to go back and really go through our back catalog, but we want you to. But we just giving you a quick, snapshot of just some highlight episodes and things that we've discussed to give you the range and pretty much what we about as men.
Yep. And so those episodes that we're gonna grow down, man. We just gonna come back and like he's saying, like you go back and reflect. I'm gonna just tell you right now, there's really no reflection on this side over here. We started back, we was getting this together, and I started re-editing some episodes with the audio a little bit better. Man, there's always work on this end. It seems like, but I mean, it's an enjoyable journey. It was just like, man, at the time we was doing that was like the best thing. We thought we was on point with it, and it was a learning process on it all. You know what I mean? But now, 100 episodes in, we kind of got a critical ear like for these things and look corrections we could have made, things we could have did better. But hey, you got to go on the journey to actually go back and have those reflections to know where to go and how you're gonna fix it. That's how the experience comes. You know what I mean? Just jumping out there and doing it. So I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we went through all these things, and it was some fun journeys, man. Some fun journeys. Some great stories. I think we got out of here, and some we had to hit on some somber moments over the year, even when we had celebrations out there, stuff we wanted to celebrate. You know,
For
it was
sure,
difficult.
man. For sure, man. And then also the other thing, the behind the scenes work and the behind the scenes people that take a little bit hit in regards to our time. I definitely want to thank them. Shout out to our families, our wives, friends, and that have to listen to us about the podcast every time we talk to them. Just understand that it's part of what we love to do now. So if you ever find anything you love to do, you're going to talk about it a lot. And I hope that all of you out there find something like this to where you can get with your friend over 25 years. Well, shoot, I'm dating us. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
20 years,
Yeah.
but, just to be able to talk shop every week about things that may seem mindless to others, but this is what we talk about all the time. So why not share our thoughts and concerns on society and music and things that we love with you all? So that's kind of how it was birthed. And last but not least, I got to thank one of our day one homies, Hadrico, man. He now has Hadrico Live. He started out with us, and we're not going to get into why he's no longer podcasting with us, but he's still our friend, and we still talk to him at a fairly decent basis in our group chat with the rest of our homies that support. So with that said, I want y'all to go subscribe to his page, He's doing a lot of leadership things. He's talking to different people from all walks of life in regards to being a motivational speaker. Uh, from me to you, man, I know Prez got his own words, but I just want to say shout out to you, man, because your consistency, your presence, and all that stuff, man. We miss it, man. We miss it. Yeah, you calling out Plies as one of your albums of the year. You know what I'm saying? That craziness. Everybody ain't your friend. I mean, like you just can't erase those moments, man. So I just wanted to say that, man, because I felt like it wouldn't be real to not at least include that chapter of Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast because it was a great chapter as well. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I just want to wish him all the best with everything that he does.
I'll speak on my portion a little bit later because we got one of the episodes.
Yeah, he's on a few of these.
He's on a few of these episodes, and there's some great banter that we had back and forth, man. And one of my favorite episodes, I think, is just him because it's so many different reasons why I consider my favorite. But I get into that later on when we actually get to it and we talking back about it. So let's go on and jump into this, man. Let's go on and sit here and talk about it.
So what's up next for the people? What's the first one we're gonna go back to?
The first one that we're gonna get into is I think like the first one that kind of like kickstarted the podcasting. We jumped off on this and then I ended up getting deployed like not too long after like that. So we had to put a pause on it, but y'all kept it going. You kept it going back here like while I was deployed. That made sure I wasn't gonna like put a slow us down any further when I got back. He was like, nah, it's going. We got to keep it going at that point. But this was our 2019 album review. So if y'all don't know, this is how we kind of like started just talking music and everything. Like when we met up like a long time ago, I think that was we had got in trouble. We had failed our test and we was sitting there waiting. So we had to do like just like little chores things in the Air Force, just going around cleaning up and, just all the stuff you don't want to do to keep the base beautified, whatever. That's stuff we was doing. And we was listening to music during that time frame and just like talking that. That's kind of how we got started. All right? Yep. So I think we said it a couple times. We're going to probably say it a couple more times as we go on just for the new people who don't know. But me and Cash had started a point where we would do annual like put on / just playlist that we was trying to see. And we've been doing this for years that we've been doing with our friends and stuff like this and we get them to judge. But no disrespect to none of our friends, but they kind of grew out of the music thing and we wasn't getting proper feedback no more from them. So that's what kind of kicked this off. Like,
we had to go where the people love us, man. Once our people stop loving the art, man, we had to go and find a group of people, strangers, that love it as much as we do still to this day, as soon to be. I won't even announce our age, but yeah.
So we go back and forth, and we kept tallies. Like, hey, he won this year, we won that year. I was up on Cash big time.
So he says.
I was up on him big time, and then so he wanted to put it out there, and lo and behold, a lot of these people started like sway. I think he just hit up a lot of his New York base and got them on his man. But that's kind of where we started with this 2019 album review. We was able to get Iggy's Loudmouth podcast. Iggy from Iggy's Loudmouth podcast. He came on that was like I said, one of our first episodes, and he was already collaborating with us already as a different voice. So we didn't want people. Our initial thought was like, hey, we're a certain age. We made like a certain type of music. We probably need somebody else to bring in a different aspect or something that we may be missing or we done shunned out because we didn't have that type of diversity within our group to like, hey, y'all check out this new guy. And that's where Iggy came in at. And he kind of did put his own to a couple of things. He did a couple different times, just like a couple artists that we haven't heard about. So I think it was a great decision that we actually did that.
Doing it.
And the banter and the discussions back and forth, man, are great. And we have a weekly, daily, almost daily discussion with Iggy now about music. So he's going to continue to be a part of this. We'll continue to collaborate. I think we equally have fun on all these collaborative podcasts when we're talking about the mid-year review, annual review, and we just have just random music pods. So those are always great. What you got to say?
But yeah, that's really it, man. I definitely want y'all to hear a little bit of what we talked about in 2019, what we felt was dope, and also, where certain people didn't listen or weren't prepared on the pod. As far as Prez.
Who wasn't prepared? Because
Y'all gonna hear it. Y'all gonna hear it. Everybody has a list, but one person in this. Y'all gonna hear it. Just. I just want y'all to, just hear. See if you hear where Prez was falling off and BSing. But that's part of the podcast game. Sometimes you got freestyle, man. Sometimes you got freestyle. But let's get into the 2019 Hip Hop Awards.
Let's go ahead and spill it then. Rookie of the year. Who the people we got?
So my rookies of the year. This is my rank, and then we can go from there. But I got the Baby first, Roddy Ricch second. I really debated on that. That was hard. I really want to put Roddy number one, but the Baby, I can't really argue with his wave. So he's number one. Roddy 2, Megan Thee Stallion 3, YBN Cordae 4, and Maxo Cream 5. That's what I got.
Oh, I got the Baby number 1, YBN Cordae 2, Roddy Ricch 3, Maxo Cream 4, and Rod Wave number 5.
I ain't doing all these lists. This is only a clear-cut winner, and that's it. That's all I'm ever gonna say. So y'all may want to have me last. I ain't got these top 5 lists, whatever. I got the person that won it.
Because you ain't tuned in,
the Baby. I waste my time on this other stuff. If you saying that's the easy one, it's there.
Hey.
You here to educate. You gotta give people other things to listen to.
Prez, listen, bro. Listen, I left a lot of people off of the new shit. It was a good year for new cats, bro.
Yeah, you ain't have Guap Dad 4000?
Huh?
Guap Dad 4000.
Hard features. I ain't listened to the album.
Yeah, I mean, he killed Costa Rica on Dreamville joint. So
You should listen to that Roddy Ricch. I don't know if you ain't.
Yeah, you definitely need the production on that. I want to say as far as
my top 10.
Yeah, as far as quality sounding, as far as if you listen to that Nipsey album, the same people that engineered and engineered that album as far as Mixed by Ali with TDE.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you pay that much attention to who mixes albums, but those
Ali's on top.
They be sounding pristine. Like, if you got any type of headphones worth a damn, or your car system, your home system, wherever you listen to music, like his shit is crisp. And Roddy Ricch definitely paid off.
You need to listen to that.
All right, so y'all got to make a decision here.
Any of those suggestions, and Cordae too. I mean, but I'm telling you, Roddy, because that album is a very good picture of how I view like young hip hop right now that cares about their, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that cares about how they sound.
Yeah,
it's a lot of young hip hop that don't really care. It's a market for them. But there's young cats that actually, like, you can hear them care about music. You can hear them like put effort into their shit. And Roddy's one of them. That's why Nip was fucking with him so hard.
So that's where I come in with YB and Cordae. Like, but I was waiting for that for like the album. Like, if you're going to split it up.
Yeah,
we gonna split it up to talk about the album.
Cordae is in discussion for Rookie of the Year though.
Well, that was my other person that I would definitely bring into the mix if y'all want to say these other ones.
I respect that. He earned that.
Yeah, he earned that. And I have to say, like, as far as like, I mean, I know this isn't the best album, but if I had to say out of all 5 of these guys that I had on my list, he probably had the most well-rounded album, top to bottom.
They hungry.
Yeah, they all equally monsters, and they all hungry.
They are monsters in their own right, and then when they team up,
it's like Voltron, man. Like Voltron forward, man.
So it's like, you know, as far as group, label though, I gotta say Dreamville, and I'm basing that strictly off of what you said, Cash, about having them have so many people come in and create. And they gotta have like 1,000 songs off of those month, 2 months or whatever that they did that because they had so many people come through and
that's
like,
a breath of fresh air.
Can I counter that?
Yeah.
Can I counter that?
Go ahead.
So
I gotta say it. Yeah, did y'all catch this guy out here fumbling around like he already just knew that his top 5 guys, he had no list.
I had the number one guy. That's all you need is the number one person, man.
Come on, man.
I had a list, but why we're gonna sit here and talk about the list? Let's just talk about who going.
Still to this day. Still playing it all to this day. He never had a list, people. He never had a list. But yeah, man, what we got up next?
Hey man, so right after that we had we got the mental health episode, man. So we change up the gears a little bit, man. We into our music, but then we also wanted this platform to use it to actually like hold some truthful discussions,
men's,
right?
men's
man?
mental health,
Yeah.
in particular, you know.
And that's kind of we was going for this. Like we know over the time frame, like we supposed to been hold our head high and all this, but we all had some downs, and I felt like, well, I don't know how you feel. I'll let you speak on your portion, but it was just like, yeah, like back in the day, everybody just like, hey man, suck it up, keep going, suck it up, keep going. But like not having that outlet, putting the stigma on going to see a psychiatrist or just speaking to someone else about it so you can actually like get out your feelings and don't end in a senseless death or anything like that. I've had the unfortunate, being around a couple people who have, committed suicide, and it's just all what they've just held off, and like you always left with that. Oh man, I didn't know they was going through all that, or they couldn't just talk to somebody. That's how you was left doing it. And it was just like, man, like, so we just wanted to try to do our best to try to end that stigmatism, or I wanted to try to make sure we did our best to try to end that, because that's one of the hardest things, I think, is just like getting people to speak up and knowing that it's okay to talk to somebody. You ain't gonna be like ostracized out of a group or your friendships with anybody. So
yeah, and we contacted several of our close friends, some that we know together and some apart, and we know their own particular stories. And we'll let you guys kind of dive into there because we actually have 2 episodes. So for those of you listening on audio, you're gonna hear one, and those on video, you're gonna hear or watch the other, because we at the time we didn't have video for every single thing. We took baby steps to it. So if you're listening on our audio, you're going to hear my man CC, who was gracious enough to actually tell his story and things that he's gone through, and now what he's going through as working as a counselor within the prison system. And then you're also going to hear from our friends that we mentioned earlier in the group chat, my man Jamie and my man Fran, and also Hudrico and everybody. We kind of chop it up in ways we never really have chopped it up as far as our mental health goes and things that we've gone through and why we don't talk about things and why we need to talk about things. So this is some good stuff, man.
We also talked about this on one of the album reviews. We did the Mars Initiative, and like he had a lot of that up in there.
We did. So
we talked about it. I don't have that episode with me written down, but the mental health episode that we're gonna be going over right now is episode 24. If you're watching on video, we had that episode down there because like I said, it'll be 2 separate ones. But we done hit this topic a couple times because you just can't just speak on it and leave it be, man. You got to constantly like bring it back up, checking in on people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Make
and it came
keeping
up,
the talks going.
It came up randomly with Mars, but that's kind of where his album was. Y'all check out his latest album, Mars Native. And but yeah, man, let's get into the topic.
We've been taught since we were kids, men don't cry. Men, we're tough. We have to make sure we have that strong fortitude. So we don't talk about mental health. So today we're going to dive into that. We have with us Jamie and James, 2 longtime friends. Fellas, welcome to the couch. How y'all doing?
Whoa, about time. Life is good.
Feels good, fellas. Feels good to be here, fellas.
Well, listen, we are glad to have you. So we won't hesitate to it. We'll get right into it. We won't even hesitate. Now, I'll throw the first question out, and I'm sure Cash and Prez will jump in as well. Speaking of mental health, let me ask you this. In your opinion, why is mental health so ignored inside the African-American community? And we'll start with you, James.
I think that, part of that reason is because, it's just upbringing. Like, in the Black community, like, you just raised in a way that it's like you internalize everything, we're raised to be strong, to put on a front, pretty much, because you deal with so much other things in the world. You have to have that strong, you got to put on that strong front. And sometimes it's at the cost of, your mental well-being. You want to be strong, and you want to give off the appearance that everything is okay, because the minute you step out that door, you're being judged, So I think For me, from personal experiences and from others in my community, I could say that that's probably one of the main reasons why we have that issue.
Let me throw this to our guests. Now, fellas, crying. What's the rules on that? I mean, now, friend, I really look forward to your answer because I remember back at Travis, crying. I remember. I don't know. I remember you had a stance on that back in the day. Where we at on that?
I would say, you just, you just don't cry. You just don't cry. Like, don't cry. Period. I mean, I can't think of. I would say like the last time I actually shed tears probably was like when I was in going through basic training. I remember my dad. My dad never used to cry. I mean, my dad. I've never seen him like hardly any emotion, except for like sarcasm, pretty much. I kind of like modeled my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never, really showed like true emotions where like to the point of tears. But I think at my age now and like maturing, I think that, I think I would shed a few tears, in front of my boys. I think I would shed a few tears in front of my boys because, like, especially you guys, like you guys know my whole story.
I'll tell you, man, it's definitely been rough, and I'll definitely answer your question about whether it's okay to cry. For me, damn, I knew this was gonna happen. So you guys know, right? That I lost my mom and my dad within 60 days of each other. My mom actually died on her birthday, January 30th, 2018. And my dad died like 50-something days later. And in my capacity, in my job, it's difficult to deal with the different things. And I had a lot of support from a lot of people. And dealing with my mom's situation, I knew I had to be the strong one. I was the youngest boy, so I had to be the strong one. And I went to the funeral and everything was okay until I can't remember her name, but one of my mom's good friends, Mary, she stole my mom's favorite song. And dude, I just lost it. And to me, it was like, why am I crying? And it wasn't like, boo-hoo baby crying. It was just really, really bad. Like I just couldn't stop. I had to remove myself from the room. And it was just really bad. I felt bad because I'm supposed to be the young one and I'm supposed to be strong. And it didn't happen that way.
So like we said, man, DSC, man, like we all over the place. We're gonna make sure we hitting up everything, and this is what we kind of envisioned. Like when we did this podcast, it's not everything's always nice. Not everything's always bad. It's a nice little mix, and you got to be able to talk through it all, and that's kind of what we wanted to open forum to actually like do that on. So. Got the music that we love, we got the sports that we love, but then we also got the culture portion, and part of that culture is building up our fellow black man, our fellow human beings. You know what I mean? Just looking at and kind of avoid like we said, it's like males. I just found like they find a hard time actually talking about these things. And 20 years in, man, had a couple people known and worked with that and did it. You know what I mean? And it's just like. There was a way, they could have reached out to me. I felt like they could have reached out to me, could have reached out to other people, and it didn't happen. So definitely want to have that discussion and continue to have that discussion on this type of forum.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And rest in peace to my homie CJ, because like I went through the same thing, man. I was at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois, and then he and his family were there just kicking it with us. Me and my ex-wife and my son, who's in the next room at the time, and we were just talking, playing board games, and the next thing you know, man, my man D is hitting me like, yo, you heard what happened to CJ? And I'm like, nah, what happened? And he just was at my house. He's like, yo, I heard, he took his life, and I'm like, you can't be serious, like, but I had no idea he was going through these things. So people sometimes can build up a very tough shell, or even pretend things are all good, and you never know what's going on with them. So, like you said, man, it's important we talk about these things, man. And unfortunately, like you said, we gotta do it. But It kind of brings me to the next segment, man. The Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah, man. And I want to tell you right now, at the time this was going on, like this was like when the pandemic was just hit. The next episode we're going to talk about is going to be the episode 54. But the pandemic had just hit, but we didn't take that as a setback. We was like, we got together, we started a lunch pad of like everything that we wanted to do, to make the pod better. It's room for improvement. We narrowed down. We got our topics. Like this is when we really focus in on this right here because everything else was kind of on pause, and it just gave us something to do to clear our mind and everything, right? And this was the one episode that we was just finally able to like meet up again, like where we can have somebody over to your house, 1 or 2 people, and coming back for the pod, and we had just did the new setup. Y'all see all this? Like this was like when we moved up in here. It was all good news. Like, hey, we coming back with loads of stuff to get up in there. But unfortunately, pandemic, and then the other news that hit where they were just hiding stuff for like 3 months that just started to leak out. This was when the video leaked of the incident in Georgia where they went there and they killed Ahmaud Arbery.
We didn't even have a chance. We got to it also, and then we had George Floyd back to back. So that month of potting was like, I didn't even feel right talking about sports and music, to be honest with you. I mean, the reason why we probably even talked about it was to offset just how angry we were. I mean, we were, you guys. I'm gonna let you guys.
Yeah, just let them hear, and we're gonna talk. We're going to roll through the Ahmaud Arbery and the George Floyd. These was all episode 50 and 53. Yeah, it was that close together. Like these incidents happened, So, let's go ahead and roll the cash.
All right, let's get to it.
What was your initial reactions and how did you feel numb to it? Was that one of your initial reactions?
So, unfortunately, my initial reaction was not one of surprise. That's the sad part. My first initial reaction was one of frustration, not only for what happened to this young man and his family, but my frustration was just more so to the justice system, more so to our people, and I'll explain that here more shortly, and more so to, I don't understand why we're acting brand new. Racism isn't new. We just know about it more frequently now because we got social media. It's never died. It's never been going nowhere. Literally, if you took the times and you removed them around, this is the same thing that happened to Medgar Evans. It's just happening in 2020.
So, did we really need to see the footage? Did we really need to see the footage? I'll just let y'all, let's go back a couple months since we mess with sports and stuff too, right? Ray Rice, minute that video hit, what happened? Ain't played a single game. Ain't played a single game since. Antonio Brown, you got allegations out there. That man ain't touched the field. Immediate action. But here over some nonsense over a video that clearly shows somebody actually dying. We can't get nobody to just go up in there and arrest anybody. But we can get singled out. That is what we're talking about when we say like, hey, the injustices. If y'all don't understand, y'all should understand that. Look how quickly somebody is quick to ostracize these players right here or anything that a black man does. And then when it comes to this right here, let the justice system handle it. No, you don't want to do it on anything else. You definitely ain't going to wait for it on this right here.
Everybody, I'm going to stop. I got something to say right there because I don't know where you're going with this, but even at that point, who gives a fuck? Like, does he have a weapon? Is he posing a threat? So I don't care if he's running away or anything like that. They talk other people down for less. You know what I'm saying? People come out with machetes, with weapons, they wilding out. You know what I'm saying? Talking to them all types of crazy, and they do things in a calm manner and use the training that they were given for less. So if I'm running away from you, that don't mean you gun me down, man.
Cash, I know we said we was gonna let him roll right through that. Believe me, we're gonna get to the next little part. We're gonna let you hear about the George Floyd right after this. But I gotta mention, like I said, like we was building up and doing things. I felt like was getting the pod really going on this path, and that was one of the things that we set up this week was Patreon. we had our first Patreon supporter come in. Our day one Patreon supporter, the one we sit here and we talk about the foundation. Corey, like, started backing us at this time frame, and like we was excited about that. You know, like we hadn't even much went public with all that info, and people was willing to say what we was doing. Like it was
at the
working.
time, which looking back at that time, like even a year ago when we started Patreon, it really wasn't that we had good quality, but we had a lot of room to grow, just like we do now. But yeah, it wasn't all of that, and for just one person to believe in us that's outside of our core group of people that already had invested or the time or whether that was money. So it was kind of dope to see, like, okay, people rock with us. You know, they really gonna move forward, but we had this stuff going on.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even, like, I don't even think we promoted it like that.
No,
like,
we didn't. We didn't even promote it that episode like really like that. I don't think. And go back and correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, wrong. You know what I mean?
I remember struggling to even like put Patreon out there in the middle of a pandemic. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you gonna start asking for people to give up bread that they don't even know was coming to them? Or, you know, it always felt kind of weird but had to do it because it was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? We are doing our thing, and if people want to contribute to what we do, you know, let them do it. And it actually is a great thing now for us.
I was nervous, but not nervous. I was like, man, we asked for this right here, but we also about to hit on all these topics. Is that going to scare people away? But I was like, I don't care. If like those the people that was up in there, they don't want to hear the truth anyway, and they ain't the people I really want to be messing with or even want to support us, backing us. So really do appreciate all the Patreon supporters who have supported us throughout the past year and a half. I'm telling y'all may think that is minute to what y'all handing over, but like it helps out tremendously on this podcast. Like I said, we're just,
if you pay one bill, if you help us pay one bill, that's more than enough appreciation.
Yeah,
and that gives us the $30-$40 to go do something else. So
but
I mean,
every time we got that, we're coming up with new ways to reinvest back into the pot, and that and truly like helping us to like just have that extra money to go out and buy this other stuff to continually improve. Much as we say like, oh, that's covering the bills, we're gonna do that. All we do is just flip that money and throw it back.
Throw it back on something else. But it's good to at least balance out somewhat. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we always gonna level up because we know that it gets greater later. So. But what we got next, man? What we got next?
All right, next was, man, like I said, three episodes later, we was back talking about it again. I think Rodrigo hit back. He's like, wasn't gonna be the last time. I didn't think it was gonna be that soon. Like usually we have a couple of these a year, man. But it was just like back to, and this was the one that like, man, 8 minutes, 46 seconds. On full display. This was the one. This is the one that, like, you know, everything went to a different level on this right here. And you know, all the protesting and everything started and was going on for several months. So and then at the same time within our career field, some stuff started coming out about racial injustices too that they had known about. And it was just like they was dropping it, and the timing couldn't have been worse for them, you know what I mean? Because now it's even spotlighted. You can't say that the military was different from regular day society because both of y'all was getting hit with both of these things and saying like y'all knew about this and we still ain't got change.
Yeah, man.
So let's go on and get into it.
Let's get into it.
And then once again, this is like the human toll. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be logical about this, man. I know if I sit here and I choke somebody, how long? Yeah, I can't have my hand around somebody's neck for 4 minutes and not expect them to die. It just ain't gonna happen.
I don't care about their prior health issues.
Knee on nobody's neck and not expect them to die. I can't. Words mean things. So when you say I'm gonna have to do it, and you add certain key phrases or key things up in there because you know it can escalate it a little bit further, you know what you're doing. You're exercising a right that some of us don't have. And this is what they would come by, say privilege, you know? Yeah. So be mindful of those things. And let's quit with all the nonsense. We know there's bad people in every subset of society, every subset of a race. Certain percentage are gonna do bad things and stuff like this. So we're not saying that it's gonna be everybody, but don't play ignorant. Like they didn't know that they was gonna kill somebody. You know exactly if you put too much force against somebody, how much it's gonna damage them. You know exactly if you hold somebody's neck or stop somebody from breathing for a certain amount of time, it's gonna cause them to die. Like and you don't. It's just a simple readjustment. Let somebody get a grasp of air.
You can't keep slapping me around like that bully in school, and then the bully not get caught. But when my reaction is swift and to the point, it may not make sense and it may not be the right thing. But at that point, I've had enough. You know, I got a quick story, Prez. So I don't know if I told you this. So at work on Friday, I walk in and a person, I talk to every day. I don't think the person is a racist by no means, but this is like tone deaf, and why I say that we need to talk about these things out loud, and people need to understand where people are coming from or what they're feeling. Like I said, just because I don't talk about all these things that are happening back home in the States doesn't mean that I'm not internalizing it and I'm not feeling it. Case in point, he was talking about the riots, and I know he knew I was in the office, so he kind of kept talking about the riots and, have you seen those riots, those people looting and all these different type of thing. Of course, I'm not going to jump and say, oh, those people would. I'm not going to be that guy to make everything, a racist comment. But then, it got to me when he was saying, I feel for those police and everything that they're going through. That's when it got me. So I had to get up, excuse myself from the workplace, and I took a good 20, 30-minute break. Went to grab some breakfast, some coffee, and just to talk myself through, like, Keith, if you say something crazy.
So we ain't gonna stay too somber. Like, hey, this is a celebration.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We had some fun times, man. And I think everything that need to be said was said up in those episodes. And truthfully, I found out that at that time, maybe Cash is a pretty good leader in his section. He say some profound shit from time to time, man.
Yeah, they call me Reverend Fred at work of all my isms and things I say. But like I said, man, I was telling one of my bosses at the time, like when this was happening, like let me dial back. So there was also the report that came out that we spoke to as far as in the military that came up. And as far as the disparity, as far as the promotions and a few other things that came up, and it was race driven, and that came out on the heels of all this stuff. So not only, like Prez said, was it happening in society, it was happening in our little military society, in particular, the Air Force. So we felt the ways about it. We had a whole stand down and to discuss it and that's really just groups of people in their own organizations just sitting down and talk about it. We talked about it, but I don't talk a lot about this stuff at work because in the military, you don't necessarily talk about these things all the time. And just in general, people don't talk about it because it makes people feel uncomfortable. But, I had a talk with one of my bosses and I was like, man, it's crazy that this comes to fruition because, like, still a quote from Hove, you only spot a few blacks the higher you go. So when you see these type of disparities, and you don't have somebody that looks like you because representation matters, yes, this shit bothers me. It's always bothered me, but I never can prove it until then. So it was like on the heels of everything. I was like, damn, this report comes out too. And, had a lot of discussions with different people, in my inner circle as far as work. And I think they heard me. And, it was what it was from there. So it was a lot going on during that time. And in the middle of a pandemic, everybody kind of isolated. So crazy, crazy, crazy times, man. Crazy times. But that's that. It's always going to be crazy times. It's always going to be hard times. But we able to talk about it.
And we got to be able to talk about it and keep it engaged. And I think those were engaging and intelligent ways to discuss those conversations, and still be inclusive with everybody and not trying to just like say, hey, this is that, you know what I mean? No, this is what everybody needs to do to like move forward.
Right.
Get that type of perspective.
What we got next, man, for the people?
All right, man. Next, man, is so like we said, we got 117 real episodes, I think 117, 118, but this is like our 100th official episode. And the reason for that is like we took little adventures. Like we didn't want to ruin our little brand or whatever we was building up. You know, we had a platform, we had the consistency on that portion, but it's stuff that we did want to try. And one of those things was just like we have some albums that we love to talk about, some that we are considered like classics that we don't feel like
Gets their just due, man.
Yeah. You go on YouTube, whatever. It's like there ain't too much things out there. You go on like or anytime people are having those discussions, they don't bring up those albums. I'm like, man, those were certified like classic albums. So we wanted to take our time to highlight those, and so it was just us kind of like, trying a little bit like our hip hop fandom.
Because this is the first video we did, but we started a Only the Classics series, so we have like a few videos on it now. But this is the first video we did with Commons B. And we did Scarface before that. We also on audio.
We did the Becoming.
So Prez will put that in the show notes.
And then
as far as what numbers those are.
Freeway,
Beanie Siegel as well. So Kanye West.
Did we do a Kanye?
Yeah, we did a Kanye West. So man, we've been working, man. Like you know, very seldom do we watch the game tapes or listen to them.
But editing, man, after it's out there, it's out
yeah,
there.
it's out there, man.
Like,
now
I get my feedback from the comments, like when they say, "Hey, you messed up," like, "Oh, damn."
Yeah, that's now I understand why rappers be getting their lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Because like once you put it out there, you on to the next. So, but yeah, y'all check out this Common B review and go check out the rest of the reviews, man. We'll put a list up there. We'll put a list out there in audio land. So yeah, we got
let us know what y'all. Well, I think Common B was the one that hit off like
it went
jump.
crazy.
It seemed like everybody was waiting on that. That Common B one came out, man, and that one just did. It did great on the audio portion and video portion on there. Right off
still
the jump.
doing numbers.
Man, and that kind of solidified our little point we were trying to make. Like people want this content, it's just not out there, so we just got to continue just like delivering it. But we don't want to just say everything's a classic. We just talked about in the previous episode. Everything ain't a classic, but I mean, we keep it true, and if we can keep finding these little things like that to put out, we will.
All right, let's get to the Common B.
And this came out at a much needed time because I was a huge Common fan prior to it, but you couldn't go tell everybody that in regards to Electric Circus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when Electric Circus dropped and he had the joint with Mary on there and, and Common addresses it in the album, but I didn't know what was next for Common at that time.
Yeah,
and that's just me. Where did that take you back?
Well, yeah, it took me back to that same time frame, but it was just like I was just trying to remember what was going on. I remember Wayne was coming up, dropping the mixtape at this point, doing the freestyle, coming up with, "Hey, I don't write nothing down." That was the big thing. So everybody was trying to do the freestyles, not writing stuff down, and the music was kind of getting watered down because everybody's not Wayne.
The South was beginning to run things. So as far as just hip hop and soulful beats, that Kanye ushered that back in with College Dropout and Late Registration and stuff like that. But in the midst of that was B.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it was just so welcome because of course, us being lyricists and loving lyricists, you just wanted something to champion.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is that shit.
And you felt like he was overdue for something like this too, just the same way as we're talking about the Scarface, like, hey, he's been putting in work. I recognize him, other people recognize him, but like he didn't have that crossover appeal that most people wanted. And this right here with Ye on the beats coming up and everything, and everybody was getting back into those soulful beats. This was like an elevation of just that College Dropout.
And their relationship, the elevation of their relationship, because they've known each other for years through No ID, through Jay Dilla, and through Kanye just, shouting it from the rafters with whoever would listen, like, yo, I'm that dude and I'm going to be whatever I'm going to be, just name it. Like countless stories that you heard about Kanye feeling like he was that guy from the very beginning and nobody could tell him any different. So this was kind of like a match made in heaven. And I'm glad that it happened because, as we get into the different songs, it's just like the cohesiveness of one rapper, one producer, organizing everything. Not saying that one producer's doing all the producing, but he is honchoing everything that's happening in that studio. And it's a beautiful thing to see when the artist is, number one, able to be produced. Like, he was just pimping so poetically. He's just one of them smooth ass motherfuckers, man, that
it was just so raunchy, but the delivery was smooth. You know what I mean? Like it was just like one of them things.
Like hitting it raw in the back.
Hitting it raw in the back. Like the whole first verse is just nothing but raunchiness. But like any woman that I've been around that likes hip hop or just music in general, when you play Go, they rock with it because he's verbally undressing you.
Mm-hmm.
He's verbally undressing you. And that's what you hope to do when you're a young dude in a club or you just moving around, you trying to spit game. You trying to tell her what you trying to tell her.
Yeah.
But you ain't trying to come off as I want to do this to you. You know what I mean? Like how these cats come off now.
Yeah.
Like you just got to talk to them.
Oh, so you're grasping with me a little bit. Like I see you off the Chris Brown stuff lately.
Hey, nah, I mean, I like my raunchy stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like my raunchy and straight to the point because sometimes it's necessary. But, you know what I mean? I'm just saying this was, I like this approach that he gave. And then, of course, Kanye with a very simple hook.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, freaky like a daughter of a pastor. Like,
we all know them.
Yeah. Next song.
It is, man. What we got next?
So I think this is our last one, man. Like, and this was our last big, like, this is the other part of the bonus section where we tried to this is the other part of the bonus section where we was just trying new stuff, right? So we talk about TV shows and everybody watch TV shows, but man, I got 3 kids, man, wife. They all have the TVs. I don't have the TVs at my house, man. So I read, and that's how I get my enjoyment and stuff like this, my entertainment. So I catch up on shows when I catch up on them. And so I was trying to see what I can bring back to the pod with that. And I don't really read these self-help books, but since it was something that I could do and bring back for leadership, I started like picking up those type books. And you know, bringing that back to the pod, and it was just like, well, okay, but our pod deals with hip hop and all this, is it something that can, you know, check both those marks and like go down there? And there was some books that we really wanted to get in. I think that was when the Rick Ross book was coming out.
Yeah, we talked. We had something on that. We had something on that. I don't think we dedicated a whole pod to it, but we did speak on it during one of the episodes.
So that one was a good one. We had where we spoke on the Gucci.
Gucci Man, yeah, no, Gucci Man.
Gucci Man, but the what's old boy in Harlem, you know, made the suits for everybody.
Oh, Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan read his book, yeah, so and learned about his whole adventures and stuff like this. But the very first one that we did, and we felt like, how can we gather something out of it, was the 50 Cent book. And 50 Cent had written one book before, the 50 Laws of Power, that basically tells you, you know, how to conduct yourself in like a boardroom, or, you know, when you're trying to take over or dominate something, like, or you know, succeed. I say dominate, succeed in something. Yeah. And came back again now, like the original book was about his initial success. This was like his maintaining that success and, you know, going into different fields, like, because as he left the music, he was going into the business world and actually doing his production and all this, like, and having the many arms of his company. So how did he change up his approach and demeanor in those boardrooms and stuff like that to continue to succeed? And that was what we was getting out of there. And we figured we'd just pull the 5 lessons out of there, you know, speak on those top 5 that we thought that he spoke out of there.
Yeah, we definitely got to do more of these. And it's like you said, man, the important part of it, if y'all didn't catch it, is it's all hip-hop related for the most part, or sports related. So we definitely tying in those two worlds and letting you know that there's actually dope content out there outside of just the videos you see in the movies and TV shows you watch. Like these guys actually have books and valid input. I'd rather take it from guys that I listen to and kind of grew up with along the way, whether it be music or entertainment, than some old random guy out there. You know what I mean? So like that's bringing it back to the culture and uplifting the culture. So man, let's get into the 50 Cent review, man. Give people the name of the book before we get into it. Hustle harder, hustle smarter.
Okay,
that's what it is, man.
On the spot. I was like, man, the second 50 Cent book.
Yep. So yeah, y'all check that out, man.
Takeaway number 3. If we can't be friends, then at least let's be enemies.
Classic 50.
Yeah, Classic 50. If y'all know, if y'all listen to 50 Cent or follow his business deals or or hell, his music career. Like you know exactly where he's coming at with this. Like if you ain't on his side, you're definitely gonna turn into he's gonna turn you to a meme, whatever it takes. Like he's gonna get some free promotion out of you or do whatever it takes to make that his benefit.
Flipping it to the leadership aspect, though, I kind of see it as like, yo, I'm not gonna like everybody that I work with. I'm not gonna like everybody I work beside. I'm not gonna like everybody that works in a whole nother organization that I have to constantly do business with. But we still have to do business in certain aspects. So you have to keep those enemies, so to speak, or those associates, rather, in a corporate world, if you're in a corporate world, close to you. And that's not saying you have to be fake with them, but you have to acknowledge that, hey, me and these people just don't vibe, but you have to find a workaround to get to whatever the goal
where
is.
It can still be beneficial.
Where it can be beneficial to both. You don't have to be the best of buddies to get shit done. And that's kind of what I took from it. Yes, the title is it'll throw you off, but that's kind of what I got from it. Is like, yeah, I don't have to smile and kiki in everybody's face, but we can work together and come together on particular projects.
Now, I found it, I took it as a different way. During this quarantine thing that we done had, like everybody watched MJ The Last Dance. And I think to relate this to that, you know how MJ was going through his thing, and like every time he hit a wall or whatever, he would find something that would piss him off and use it for motivation, right? Just making up something like, hey, this guy didn't look at me. He didn't say, hey, he'll make you out of an enemy just to give him that extra drive. So if I'm reaching out to you and trying to get some work done, and you like, nah, I ain't got time for you, I'm gonna turn that, hey, well, this person don't think I'm worthy of it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna work extra hard, and I'm gonna come up there. I did this because in spite of you or whatever. That's how I took it as.
But at a certain point, it goes beyond that. Now it's business. We got to transition from this life to this life. We have to be up on time for certain things. We have to be professional in this setting. We can't approach this the same way we're going to approach this as far as from a street manner. You know what I mean? And I'm just going off of his experiences and what he spoke to in the book with Lloyd Banks, Tony Ayo, and others. Like, they were his dudes on
Gilly
tour.
the Kid. He talked about
Gilly
Gilly the Kid.
about Gilly the Kid walking away from a deal, being short-sighted, with it being like, I think it was like he wanted a million for the deal, but Gilly didn't even have the cachet in the music industry at the time to demand such a deal. And he cut his nose to spite his face in that instance, because he could have took the short route, going back to your previous point, Prez, where he could have just knew his value, but builded it up over time, and probably could have been that dude as far as rappers. We know he wrote for your favorite rapper, Lil Wayne and stuff.
Cash. Whew. That's it, man. I think I'm happy to say, like, all the little things that we added in, we went out, like, they didn't work. People don't like each one of those portions. We done seen we always keep an eye on the numbers. Numbers are doing good on all those. So we're going to keep bringing y'all more content like that. We're going to look to bring y'all even more of the interviews and things like that. So we can, we got another one coming up here, like I said, in another week or two. We got another interview coming up.
Yeah, Take Keys, up and coming artist. He's dropped multiple albums, but feel like he's getting his just due at this point. So it's from Lawton, Oklahoma. So definitely check that interview out. That's coming next Tuesday when we release. So that's going to be a good one. His album's coming out on April 4th. So, but you'll hear all about that during the interview.
So for y'all who've been with us since like day one, hopefully you enjoyed the little look back right there at our little, what was that, about 8 episodes that we look back at as, and you know, just gave little snippets out of. And then for y'all who just coming on or came on in the later portion, hey, this at least give y'all a little history on like how the pod was coming along in the different directions that we went into, and maybe hopefully you go back and listen at the other episodes.
Yeah, we got a lot of guests that I want to shout out. I didn't write them all down, but I'm gonna try to freestyle and give them love off the top of my head.
But let's go.
So shout out to Conundrum. Shout out to my homegirl Nashanta for coming on. So they're business women, and shout out to them. We had to give them a shout out. Shout out to my homie Denise. Shout out to Quay for coming on and giving her story.
Oh yeah, that was
shout out to my homie Shago. He came on and gave a hilarious take on his sexual lifestyle. We will definitely, if you want to hear that episode, hit us up in the comments, and we'll let you know what episode to go on that. That's back when we was talking about everything, but it still was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Peel the curtain. Also, who else do we got? My man Mo.
Yeah,
Mo
you had
came on
Mo.
the episode.
You had G Hunt.
T Hunt, yep.
T
T
Hunt,
Hunt,
my
he
fault.
came on. We had Mars Native.
Yeah.
He came on as far as music. JR.
That was like the Grussel too.
Yeah, Grussel 2 for T Hunt. Then we
Yeah.
just had JR come on. Check out My Hoop Dreams.
What was the home buying one?
Home Buying 101. So that's my sister-in-law. She came on, and Jared. So we'll definitely point you guys to that one. It'll be somewhere above my head, or we're just gonna put it.
Then we gotta hit up all the sports people who done came on.
Oh man, yeah. People dropped videos for our NFL. What was it?
We had our Jacksonville fan, got
Yep,
Scott, Sean.
Yeah, so shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are, man. It's a lot of folks that help contribute to just.
Definitely want to give a shout out though to Q.
Yeah, Q came on as far as the Ravens, and they've lost
Kaiser.
2 years in a row. So whatever, but that's neither here nor there. Q.
Yeah.
but yeah, Kaiser came on, discussed the Browns when we first started out. So yeah, man, we had a lot of Danielle. Yeah, she came on to give us. Well, we were on hers, so we did two for one, right?
2 for 1. Yeah,
2 for 1. So she came on ours to discuss, management, leadership, and mindset, and check her out. So we got a lot of dope joints, and everything we're mentioning, we'll put those episodes. Let's package it up, and give them a playlist, and whatever they want to go to, they can go to.
Go
so
listen at the Mother's Day episode with old Mrs.
Yeah, I forgot Mother's Day, and I got shit for. She said she didn't want nothing. yeah. So yeah, man, it's a lot of funny things, man. Some of our real life crept in, and some of it was just overall good content that I feel like you guys and gals need to watch, man. So shout out to everybody that's contributed. If I forgot your name or your contribution, my bad. We freestyling it right now. So, but yeah, man. With that said, man, you got any last words, or you just want?
Hey, I like I said, thank y'all all for the support. Thank you for the Patreon supporters. Thank you for our worldwide audience. We definitely want to appreciate y'all. India, Germany, France, U.S., Canada, main ones.
Yeah, those are main targets. Yeah,
that we see the numbers on. So definitely appreciate y'all. And they really didn't think we'll be talking to people in those countries like when we originally started, but definitely appreciate it. And hey, comment. We done hit 250 several times on our subscribers for YouTube. I know that's little minute numbers for some, but it's bigger numbers for us. Like, so they subscribe, they unsubscribe. So we done hit it several times, but we'd like to get that number up. We'd like to be more on the 300, 500 range. That's what our goal for the end of the year.
Keep going.
So if you haven't subscribed on our YouTube, navigate over there and hit that subscribe button. We have all this and video form. We have several of these episodes in video form. We have them in small vignettes, so you can just like take it in smaller doses if you wanted it that way, if that's how you prefer to watch it. So,
yeah, man, I couldn't say no better than myself, man. So we love y'all. Keep coming back. Here's to another 100 episodes. Here's to another 100,000 downloads and all these other milestones that we're sure we're going to remind you of, because you got to celebrate the small wins along your journey. So with that said, I'm Cash, a.k.a. Exec P. And to my right,
Mr. Prez.
Episode 100.
We out.
For more episodes, catch us on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify, SoundCloud, and wherever else you listen to your favorite podcasts.